The second rehearsals continue today on May 4th, and we have just seen 5 more countries. They are Montenegro, Finland, Azerbaijan, Portugal, and Greece. You ready to talk about them? Let's do this! First up was Montenegro Slavko Kalezic. He is still freestyling, he is still doing him. It's quite fun. I must say, the stage felt somehow empty. I don't know if that's because we've seen it a few times now and so we're more attuned to it, but I hope that they crop the camera a bit closer at times so he feels it more, because he is standing alone and it's a very big stage.
Yeah, I'm kind of over him. Like when we saw him for the first time, we'd had a day full of ballads and it was just like, oh, he's such a breath of fresh air. Whereas now today we've seen more songs beforehand, and he doesn't have the same charm as he did before, and it looks, I don't know, it feels amateurish now. But maybe I don't think he performed as well as he did the last day either. That a lot of the movements, he was shaking his head and his hair wasn't going around as manically as it had the first time, and then there was points where his backing singers didn't come in properly, so maybe that left me a bit cold. But yeah, I felt let down by him today.
It does feel now like, I don't want to say the novelty has worn off, because Slavko is a genuine artist in a way, but I do think that it is starting to just wear a little bit thin now. It doesn't, after seeing all the rehearsals that we have, it does just come across a little maybe amateur, and I know it's a harsh thing to say, but I don't see it qualifying now. I didn't have it qualifying before, but I thought it might and I wanted it to, and now it's really enjoyable for what it is, and it will be one of those performances that will go down in the Eurovision fandom, but I don't think it's one that will go through with Europe.
Luckily, the Eurovision fandom is who votes in the semi-finals, and I'm hoping that fresh eyes, people will see this for the first time and be wowed by it. Slavko, we love you. Next, we turn to Finland. Largely the same. They've changed some lighting effects. You know, they had a red light early in the song that been kind of built from the bottom up, but they've toned that down, so the red doesn't come in until the end. This is still stunning and beautiful, and vocally she's even stronger now. She's getting more and more confident. This is looking very, very good. I'm feeling top 10 in the final now.
I'm not sure about top 10 in the final, but it's definitely qualifying. There wasn't much changes since their first rehearsal because they didn't have much to do. It's still the UMK staging, and there's a small bit of tweaking with the lights. Everything else is the same. There was no issues with vocals. Yeah, it's sailing true. Yeah,
it's now effectively right back to where we were in UMK, and why change something? Well, don't break what's not... you know what, don't fix what's not broken, whatever I was trying to say. I've been running a lot. But no, very, very good. I think maybe she was even stronger vocally, just because I saw some critics saying she wasn't very good on Sunday, and I'm like, really?
What were they
I feel
listening to?
like this was like silencing all doubt. Finland are qualifying.
I hope that blackbird pecks their eyes out. All right, we move on to Azerbaijan. Gotta say, Dihaj really brought it.
Yeah.
Now, when it opens up in the classroom, the camera is angled such that you see gray LED wall, and that makes it look like the roof of the classroom, so she's totally encapsulated in an intimate space. And now the horse on the ladder, he actually has choreography, so it doesn't look gimmicky and jokey. It looks like art, like this is deliberate, it's choreographed. On the whole, very sleek and polished, and she sounded much, much better.
Yeah, everything about this has improved. The vocals, the backing vocalists, the staging. There was no weird shots, because I remember in the first rehearsal we were seeing, it first showed us the legs of the horse just hanging there in air and you were wondering what was going on. But everything was on point this time.
I do think it's not a case of will they qualify, it's how high up will they be. You know, there are still some issues. I still don't like the horse. I just think that the horse is silly, really. I mean, that is gimmicky, I think. At the end of the day, he could be a guy in a tuxedo and it would have the same impact. It's a lover and she's like pushing him aside and all that, and she's breaking free towards the end. But, you know, very, very good, very artistic. Dihaj sounded better, particularly in the final run through. She was a bit thin vocally during the verses in the first couple, but then the final run through, power all the way through, definite qualifier again.
Bad boy. Next, we go to Portugal, where Salvador Sobral's sister Luisa was still singing. She poshed up in a black pantsuit. Of course, this probably has no relation to what he will wear because he keeps it casual. Much is the same. The enchanted forest goes from blue in the early moments to green. There's a green light around the island stage. Very slow and dreamy camera movements kind of going back and forth. It's all very steady and paced. This is very strong. She sounds great. Of course, we have to judge Salvador and he's not here, so so it's all kind of still theoretical, but I'm really liking this. I think it looked fantastic.
I thought she was kind of dressed like Salvador. She had the scarf, neck scarf,
Pussy bow.
and the jacket then, like a man's jacket, I thought. But anyway, yeah, once again, it was the same. They didn't have much work to do because we were blown away the first time. The thing is, I think you have to be really paying attention to it. Today is kind of a bit manic, so I wasn't paying as close attention, and it kind of passed me by. But I think if you're sitting down watching Eurovision, you'll still be caught up in the moment.
Absolutely.
Here's a shock. I'm going to be positive about Portugal. I was in the arena, and actually, I didn't mind the first run through. It was nice. Luisa, I do prefer Luisa's voice. I think that's also part of the thing. I really like her voice compared with Salvador's. Just personal taste. However, I would then say, after you've heard it 4 times, I think she did it, it was right back to, oh my God, just get to the next song. But we'll only hear it once on the night, it'll be fine. It's qualifying, without a shadow of a doubt. But I do think that the backdrop is very nice. They've done a very good staging. The only other person that we've seen using that satellite stage is Hungary's violinist. So that will make Portugal stand out even more.
Absolutely. And finally, in this group of acts, we have Greece. Demy was channeling some Ruth Lorenzo realness with her wet hair. She sings about a waterfall, or she stands in a waterfall in reverse. She's got swans beating water, so she had to be wet herself. I think that's a very nice touch. It makes it visually more intriguing. It goes from princess singing to kind of wet princess who's in some kind of maelstrom of emotion singing. I really like that. Vocally, that big note, "This is love," there were problems there with the mixing again. I don't know if it was the mixing or if it was Demy, but that was slightly off. But I think visually this is even more arresting. It almost had greater hints of Cascada's song from 2013. It felt clubby, but then of course they pull it back. And the waterfall was much more interesting. It looked crisper and more high tech. I think this is a grower. They still need to sort out those vocals though.
The imagery was sharper, and then I think it made it seem that bit more realistic that her hair was wet because she's standing under a waterfall. How is her hair so dry? But yeah, the vocals were the big thing, and it kind of got to a stage where people were kind of like, is she going to get it? No. Every time it was painful to hear that big note. And the thing was, the rest of the song was fine. It was just that one big note. So I don't know whether it's simply in case Demy can't reach it, or her backing singers are supposed to cover for it. I don't know, because she's been practicing. We heard her backstage for well over an hour beforehand. They're practicing. So I would imagine that they'll have that all sorted.
It might be an El Haida Dani will she hit it moment, because I mean the first run through, the one that is up on wiwibloggs, youtube.com, wiwi.tv, was the one that I heard in the arena, and it was bad all the way through. I'm not gonna lie, like, it was really, really bad. She did improve the rest of the song, but the high note is the main thing, and the juries will crucify her if she doesn't get that right, I think. Otherwise, it did look a lot better. The swans actually seemed to fade a bit more into the background. I didn't notice them as much this time, but they covered her rising platform a bit better. Everything else was sharper, it's just that note.
At times, the two swans, when they form the heart at the end, they're not symmetrical. They need to hit their marks, because it doesn't look like a heart. It looks like two dudes acting crazy. Like, are they going to choke her or wrap her around?
And they're in too much darkness when they do that. They should light them up a bit more.
But that's easily fixed. I'm still feeling good about this. I still think this is going to the final because it's so interesting. In any case, that's what we think. What do you think? Are you loving the full rehearsals, which you can watch on wiwi.tv? Are you still behind the certain acts you were behind before? Let us know here on wiwibloggs.
Make sure to subscribe.
And please like and share this video.
We'll see you later. Bye.